Our water availability. What is the water available right now? Since we say we are depleting our surface water, so where do we get our water to be able to irrigate so that then we can increase our arable land? So we have groundwaters, these are the boreholes and wells, but we have seawaters as well, and then the occasional runoff that we get from storm when it rains. Now looking at those sources of water, we see high requirements for energy, for extraction and distribution. Your boreholes, the water table goes lower, you have to extract deeper, require more energy. Our sea waters are highly saline, you have to extract clean water from them, means you have to use energy, infiltration. The storm water, which we can use, put into our dams, means we still have to distribute it to where it is required. Then explains the reason why we are challenged when it comes to irrigation. But we can do it anyway, since it is becoming necessary that for us to be food secure, then that's the way to go. What can we do then if our energy more energy is therefore being required for irrigation use? And we'll often see that more and more we will find requirement for pumping becoming even more and more expensive as we go on. And in the Big Four agenda in the food security, one of the things the government would like to do is to have the smallholder production. Right now they are at 16% of our production and exports, and the government hopes to move them in 5 years to 50% of our production from smallholder producers. So you can imagine for smallholder producers what that would mean if they have to produce food for our country sustainability. Then food will become more expensive because then they have to pass on the extra energy and food production cost to the consumer. Then we have the post-harvest technologies where we need storage, we need validation, we are talking about agro-processing, which is also still in the Big Four agenda. All this will require energy. And looking at that clearly, energy is a major component in the food production chain. And its affordability, therefore, determines whether the food security plan or pillar of the Big Four is going to be realized or not. And I think it is so critical that we look at the energy in production. Now the paradox is, and I will show you this, as I said, I don't have much slides. This is our solar and wind generation potentials. I'm sure a lot of you have seen these maps showing how much solar potential, how much wind potentials we have across the country. And the paradox is that in the areas where we say the land is not arable, we have vast areas of lands. In these areas we have high, what we call irradiation, where therefore we have high energy generation potentials. And you find, as you see the map there where it's becoming from the greenish, yellow, red areas is most of the country anyway. And in most of these places also you find we have high ground level sources which have been identified, and therefore there is potential for extraction of water. Yet these areas remain largely unproductive, and we still struggle with productivity in terms of for our food security. So you can imagine if we applied our renewable energy sources, therefore, then, and even if we increase our arable land using this from our current 10% to even 20%, you could talk about increasing our GDP by another 2 or 3% from agriculture. And in the earlier session we were talking about we do not have enough uptakers of power. Kenya Power has excesses. How about we convert ourselves from consumers to producers, from consumption to production? And I think renewable energy, for me, is the way that we can really, really convert our citizenry from being consumers, from being just in consumption to actual production, where they actually contribute to growth of the economy through renewable energy. Because what will happen, and we see this all the time, even the people we engage on a day-to-day, most of the people who are taking up the renewable energy, for instance in solar, have grid connections. And not that they do not use the grid connection after they take up the solar, is that they increase their consumption out of the production that they're doing. So you find the two carrying each other, and you get ourselves to a better place, both in renewables and also in the current demand for the current grid supply. So just looking at renewable again and what it means, because we always talk about the cost of renewable energy, and obviously we all know that the cost has reduced significantly over the years. But you know, renewable energy means you have one initial investment, and then you harness power or energy for generations to come. And then our renewable energies, you know, in terms of cost of operation and maintenance, is at the minimum. So we are talking of cost effectiveness. We are talking of sustainability, because you can be able to tell how many kilowatts of power every square meter, for instance, of PV is able to generate a year. Sustainability, reliability. I mean, these things cannot be overemphasized as far as renewables are concerned. For me, if we are going to impact or improve our food security, especially in off-grid of Kenya, renewable energy is, for me, the answer to look at. Just a bit about Epicenter. A few of people in the room asked, what does Epicenter do? I'm sure you've seen a little bit of what some of our colleagues are showcasing out there. At Epicenter, we are happy people, and we try to impact the same to our communities and everybody we work with. Our focus is on sustainability for solar power and water. And we focus in areas of solar pumping, and you have seen some of that going on, mostly in off-grid Kenya and the region, solar power lighting and desalination, solar desalination, where we are able to treat your water using solar. And we pride ourselves as a first company to put in a solar pumping system in Turkana when we had the Kenyans for Kenya project in 2012. We were able to do that, and we have those systems running to date, I think several years down the line with water. And now some of those communities are able to farm and try to improve their food security there. In Dadaab, we pride also ourselves to be the first people who put a solar pumping system there for the big refugee. That was a time when there was a lot of insurgents of refugees from Somalia, and a lot of development partners have bought into the solar pumping technologies based on what we've tried to do. We've pioneered a number of solar driven technologies in the country, and in the last 5 or so years, we've been able to put some 10 megawatts of solar into our country, and we are proud of that. Pumped, I would say, some billions of water. Some are going into irrigation, some to water supply, and hoping we can do a lot more of production so that we can make our country more food secure. Our key strengths are in need assessment. We are very much in touch with what people in, especially off-grid areas, in needs assessment, system design, and actual implementation of those works at site. I'm told I have 2 minutes. I'm just concluding. And our footprint is in Kenya, South Sudan, Somalia, and Uganda. And we've also been able to do a few projects in Ethiopia and Tanzania with some of our development partners. I'll just show you a picture that I like here, just for those who usually don't believe that solar can deliver good volumes of water. This is one of the many systems that we've done across the country. And as far as our food security, I think this is able to demonstrate that solar is able to deliver that for our country. Our latest innovation, because we are very well known for innovation, we work closely with like-minded people like Strathmore, is a solar desalination plant that is able to treat levels of salinity as seawater. And we are focusing on communities around the coast region, or even in places like Turkana. Around the Lake Turkana, you know, there's high levels of fluoride, and it's been very, we go to those places because that's where we work, and it is very disheartening to see how chemicals or in our waters can really affect our communities. Fluoride in the bones. You go to places like Wajir, where you have women, because the water has high levels of nitrates, the women are not able to carry their babies to term. And what do you do for such communities? As Epicenter, we feel the need to go look for solutions around that, and we are proud that we can go back to Wajir, and we have fitted our first solar desalination plant there to be able to remove the chemicals in the water, and the women there are no longer would be considered as outcasts in the society, that they cannot have their babies or have the babies with the blue baby syndrome that often happens. So we are happy to be part of this and debate to put our contribution on how do we make our country food secure through our knowledge and experience, having worked in the renewable sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.